Okay, Algebra 1, this video lesson is part of the review guide for Quiz 1C, and it's just going to focus on two topics, what we call does-speed triangle and unit analysis. First of all, does-speed triangle. Remember, we called it that because that way we've got the first three letters of the key points in the triangle. D for distance, over here distance, S for speed, which appears right here, and T for time. Again, up here, time. So the point of this is that if you have these three letters memorized, and this name helps you do that, then you're going to put them in the right order and in the right places. D has to be on top, and S and T have to be together on the bottom, and they have to be separated by a division line. That helps you to answer the very first question that I asked you to solve in the recent homework assignment. But task one, when you get a word problem like this, is to make sure you understand what the question's asking you. It's asking you to find the speed. And sometimes it takes a little bit of work to read a word problem and make sure you've got that. But it is saying, after all, which expression represents your average speed. So since I know I'm looking for speed, I'm going to cover speed up. And what's left? D over T. It makes it easy to find that the right answer right there is B. We use that kind of knowledge to answer questions like this one, which also was part of the homework assignment. And it spells out here that an aircraft is flying at a speed of 271 kilometers per hour, and how far will it fly in 5 hours? Again, the key point is to make sure you know what you're being asked. How far is a question of distance. If that's not obvious, if that's not jumping out at you, then look at the information you do have. You do have 271 kilometers per hour. You should be able to recognize that that is a speed unit, kilometers per hour. So it's not that. You already have that. That's not going to be covered up. And 5 hours, well, that's clearly time, so you're not going to cover that up. So what's left to cover up is D, or distance. So like I said, how far is the question? It's a distance question. Cover up D, and what you're left with is S times T. So set it up as how far equals S times T, or distance equals S times T. Then it's just a matter of filling in the numbers. 271 times 5. There's a little bit more to it, though, than just the numbers. That 271, don't forget the units. It's kilometers per hour. And same thing for the 5. Make sure it's hours. That way you can cancel those out, and you'll get the right answer with the right units. 5 times 271 is 1,355, but a key part of it is to make sure that you tell me what. 1,355 what? 1,355 kilometers is the right answer. And if you don't have kilometers there, if you don't have units at all, I'm not going to give you full credit on the question. And remember, this unit makes sense. It matches what you were asked, a distance or a how far question. Let's try it in a different question. This time it's looking for something different. This time it's a how fast question. How fast is really speed. So I'm covering up speed this time. I know that my answer is going to be found by doing distance over time. How fast is equal to speed is equal to distance over time. I plug in those numbers. There they are right there, 4416 for the kilometers and 8 for the hours. And notice, kilometers and hours do not cancel each other, but that's okay because I'm going to figure out the numbers with my calculator and find that the answer is 552, and I wanted it to be kilometers over hours because my answer is a speed question, and speed is a measure of distance over time. Remember, you're very comfortable or used to miles per hour. This just happens to be kilometers per hour. But this is your answer right here. Now, the one other thing we had to be able to do was unit analysis to convert from one unit to another. In this case, same question, that same question about the blimp, but this time I want the answer in miles per minute. So remember, before we had the speed in kilometers per hour. It was just on the previous slide that we looked at. It was 552, but I've got to turn that kilometers per hour into miles per minute. There are 3 steps to this unit analysis technique that I talked about and taught you. Step 1, write down the answer units. Write them way off to the right because you're going to need a lot of space to do your work on the left. So there are my answer units. I'm asked right up here for miles per minute, so there they are. Step 2, I fill in what I know. Well, what I know is what I found out from the original problem number 2, which is 552 kilometers per hour. So I fill that in. So now I've got that here, plus I have the answer units over here. Step 3, and the last step really, is to insert conversion rates in between this and that, because I've got to turn kilometers per hour into miles per minute. So I got a hint that there are 1.6 kilometers in a mile. Well, that's a conversion rate. Let's plug that in. So remember, each time you use a conversion rate, you're going to multiply. The problem is, though, notice I've got kilometers on the top and kilometers on the top. They're not going to cancel. That's not going to help me turn it into miles. Miles is on the bottom here, and I wanted miles on the top. So the problem here is my conversion rate is upside down. I can always flip a conversion rate if I need to, and so I do. I put 1 mile on the top, 1.6 kilometers on the bottom instead of the way it was written here, but that's okay, because now kilometers cancel and I have miles on the top, which is exactly what I wanted. But I don't have minutes. I still have hours over here, so I've got to somehow get hours turned into minutes. And they haven't given me any conversion rate for minutes and hours. Well, on the quiz and in real life, there are some conversions you're just expected to know, and I think most of us do know that there is 1 hour in every 60 minutes, or 60 minutes in every hour. This time I just went ahead and put them in the right place, because I hope you notice I've got to have minutes on the bottom, because that's the answer I want, is minutes on the bottom. And I need hours on the top because I want those to cancel. Sure enough, they do. And now notice I've got the units I want, miles on top, minutes on the bottom, and I don't have any more units. Once that's true, once you have only the units you want and no others, you've set your problem up. So all that's left is to clean this up a bit. I'll do it in the space that I have, which is over here on the right. And I've got 552, that's this number, times 1 over 1 times 1.6 times 60. Notice these ones get filled in sometimes, like 1 hour. Well, I don't really need those ones, do I? We've talked about this a number of times in class. I don't really need to multiply it times 1. So really what I have is 552 divided by 1.6 times 60. The biggest challenge here with people using their calculators is to make sure that you group the 1.6 times 60 together, and all of that gets divided into 552. If you do 552 divided by 1.6 and get an answer and multiply that times 60, you're going to get a huge answer when you want a small answer. That right answer is just 5.75. So double check and make sure you're using your calculator correctly with this problem. That's the right answer for it. And that's it. That's all that I was planning to present you about the speed triangle and unit analysis.